Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
Hare Krishna, welcome to our channel. Bhagavad-gita, here it is, because we have it. Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Labanga Latika. So this is the very, very last verse in the 9th chapter, which is called The Most Confidential Knowledge. And we have been going through Bhagavad-gita, and we have kind of concluded, yes, if I'm not this body, if I'm the soul within body, if I'm an individual in an eternal relationship with the Supreme, and right now I'm under the illusion that I'm actually this body, and that I'm actually connected to this material world, and that's an illusion I would like to end. Not in a, how to say, theoretical way, but in a real way. How can I be that person that I'm actually am, and how can I enter into that spiritual atmosphere where I actually belong? So take note, Krishna will respond to that question right here in this verse. And if you like to learn verses by heart, put this one on your list. Text 34. Mangmana bhavamad bhakto madhyadimang namaskuru mam evaishyasi yuktvevam atmanang matparayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. So obviously Krishna is speaking in this verse. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. We have heard that previously. The absorption at the time of death will take us to the next body, and the consciousness at the time of death is sort of the sum of the life we have led. So, but here Krishna speaks very clearly. I will read the purport. In this verse it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and he himself are one and absolute. So Krishna says, Prabhupada explains that it's clearly indicated that the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this world is Krishna consciousness. So why is that? Because actually this material world is nothing but a lack of Krishna consciousness, a desire to not be in that Krishna consciousness. So therefore, naturally, the solution is to be Krishna conscious. And that sometimes when you read Bhagavad-gita, you have that phrase on every page, Krishna conscious, be Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness is the supreme consciousness to achieve. And yes, Prabhupada stresses it over and over, because otherwise it could be easy to miss. And then of course this philosophy expands in all directions and helps us to make sense of existence in every way. But without that central core message, that completion is not seen or understood and particularly achieved. And then of course Prabhupada goes on, because there are so many editions of the Bhagavad-gita, and each one has, generally the Indian tradition is you write a commentary when you speak on a classical text like this. And then Prabhupada is very careful to align with Krishna's words, because the Bhagavad-gita is already famous, and it's kind of a little bit of a dishonest way to reach your own fate. You take the Bhagavad-gita and then you speak something else, and then people will listen because they respect the Bhagavad-gita. So we want to go back to what Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, and here the culmination of the 9th chapter, Krishna speaks very clearly. this is how you do it. And Prabhupada is saying, don't get sidetracked, because there are commentators, they will say that, oh, it is not to Krishna you have to surrender, it is to the unborn within Krishna. But with Krishna, the within and the without, it is absolute. It is Krishna. He's a person, he's also everything, he's the source of everything. So yes, we can have we can actually have any level or any, how to say, distance or amount of Krishna consciousness or non-Krishna consciousness. But without Krishna consciousness, there will be an illusion. It will not be eternal, and it will not satisfy the soul. It is stated in the Kurma Purana, as it is quoted by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhasya comment on Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5th chapter, Adilila, verses 41 to 48. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is this biography of the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the incarnation of Krishna, or Krishna himself actually, who came 500 years ago, so it's very recent when we speak of spiritual history. Deha dehi vibheto yangneshvare vijate kvachit. This looks like Sanskrit. Deha dehi vibheto yangneshvare vidyate kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know this science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people. So yes, if we have come to this point where we want to seriously understand Bhagavad-gita, at least in a hypothetical sense, we want to accept what Krishna is saying here, because otherwise it does become a little meaningless. So Krishna tells Arjuna that Krishna himself is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everybody else is connected to him as a part and parcel. And in that connection, that is where we find ourselves. That is our actual self-realization and actual, how to say, understanding our own nature of Satchit Ananda, eternality, knowledge and bliss. These are our qualities, and when we don't feel them, when we don't connect to them, means we are covered by some form of illusion. And to remove that illusion, we connect with our true nature, which is to be connected to Krishna, engaging the mind in thinking of him, becoming his devotee, offering obeisances to him and worshipping him. And actually the pure devotees, they become so absorbed in this love that they will naturally think of Krishna. They won't have to do some form of meditation. They will naturally serve him in their own relationship. But when we begin, we start by offering our obeisances and accepting that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are some who are demonic. They also think of Krishna, but enviously, just like King Kamsa, Krishna's uncle. He was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come to kill him. So these are all the stories from Krishna's life, and we have, Prabhupada has translated them in a summary form as the Krishna book, and I recommend it because that is really the way to hear of Krishna, so you can think of Krishna, because you know something about Krishna, and the mind will naturally be attracted to Krishna. So here we hear of Kamsa, who thought of Krishna as his enemy and always was afraid that Krishna would come and kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love. That is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna consciously. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continuously. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have several times explained that his body is not material but is eternal, blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Understanding Krishna otherwise from the wrong source will prove fruitless. One should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is supreme, he should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement in human society. So, Prabhupada will not risk that we see devotional service as something theoretical. Krishna is pointing it out also very clearly, also very direct. Engage your mind in thinking about me. And how can we think of Krishna? First we have to hear about him, so we have something to fix our mind. Krishna is not just a formless syllable in the air. Krishna is that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, by chanting his name with devotion, with dedication, continuously, we will also realize the form. But if we know a little bit about him, it will become a very natural thing for the heart to reach out in that direction. And today, religion is not the most important thing in people's life, and often Prabhupada is saying that if we just do religion in a kind of sentimental way, or if we just do philosophy in just a sort of dry way, it will not be satisfying. But if we combine them, if we combine the philosophical knowledge from Bhagavad-gita and the Vedas with the practice of loving devotion to Krishna, then we will find a place, even while we're still in this material world, while we're still in this material body, we will find a place that is steady, a refuge where we can take shelter. And then we can come closer and closer to Krishna, and it will not be a foreign thing. It will be like a natural thing. It will be a place where we belong, where we feel at home. The 7th and 8th chapters of Bhagavad-gita have explained pure devotional service to the Lord that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. Those who are not purely sanctified, may be attracted by different features of the Lord, like the impersonal Brahma-jyotir and localized Paramatma, but a pure devotee directly takes to the service of the Supreme Lord. There is a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental non-devotional activities will diminish, and he will soon be situated without any doubt in complete perfection. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down, because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in this material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. So that is the guarantee, and Prabhupada is stressing it, because everything else is temporary. Everything else. Some things are temporarily in a very immediate sense, like I'm having a cup of ginger tea because it really helps my voice. It will not last forever. And even if I keep it for a long time, it will not stay warm forever. I can see that immediately. It's a little more difficult with my body. I know I will die. Of course I will die. Everybody will die. But I don't have a sense of it. I don't have a sense of the temporary nature. That is something I have to kind of hold on to by philosophy. And any achievement in this world, we can look back on history, and there have been so many empires that felt that they were controlling the whole world, and they felt very safe, and so, but now they're all gone. They're all gone. We don't see any empires. Now, of course, we have empires more or less based on economy. Then different cultures are trying to exert their dominance in an business sense or in a cultural sense, they will also go up and then go down and diminish, and they might be remembered in the history books. But we are eternal, and it is very difficult to wrap the mind around eternality when we live in a world that is temporary all the time. But it is actually natural for us, because it is not natural to die. It feels very unexpected, even when it's not unexpected, even when someone have been sick for a long time, or there is an accident and they are very damaged, and we know they can't survive, but still it's not expected. And that is because our real actual nature is to be eternal, and that eternality, we come back to it when we connect with Krishna, when we hook up to Krishna, when we realize that eternal nature. And then it becomes easy to, or at least a lot easier, to achieve the other qualities that come in connection with spiritual realization, like peacefulness, humility. We heard about that previously, that we serve Krishna by bowing down to him, by touching our head to the ground. Now, why would anybody do that? But in front of Krishna's altar in the temple, it is the most natural thing. Actually, a friend of me told me, when an elevated person comes in the room, then the life airs, the soul in the life airs inside the body will naturally rise. So if we don't stand up to receive them, then that will also actually be bad for our health. So we stand up to receive them, and then we bow our heads down. And this helps us to get, like, snap out of these cultural conditionings that tell us that there is no God, nobody is superior. No, God is certainly superior to us. He doesn't take advantage of it. He doesn't need to. He's very secure in his position. What he's coming for is our love. And we have a natural need to place our love somewhere. But if we place it somewhere else that is not Krishna, there will be some sort of disappointment. Always. Even in the most perfect relationship, it will end with death. Krishna, though, this will never end. So we just have to start it. Because actually it started a long time ago, because we have that eternal relationship. But since we don't remember it, let's start it now. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, Krishna says. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So that is Krishna's words. That's how we end the 9th chapter. And we can take it to heart, that whatever we're looking for, it's actually possible to achieve it in a quite simple way. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.